Hey everyone, welcome to part 1 of Royalton Splash Riviera Cancun, the good, bad and ugly, honest review and full resort tour, brought to you by Adventures with the Gilberts. In today's video we'll be going through all the positives as well as all the negatives of our personal experience when we stayed at the Royalton Splash. But before we get started, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and help us on our mission to reach 1,000 subscribers. Some of the topics that we cover in today's video could actually be the decider on whether or not you book to stay at this resort, so make sure that you stay tuned to find out if this is the right hotel for you. So this is where we're going to start the video, because this here is what you're going to see when you first arrive at the Royalton Splash. And once you go through the main entrance, you're going to be met with this massive open lobby area. I mean, this place is just huge. You've got loads of natural light coming through, plenty of nice seating areas to relax, and you get some of the greatest views of the resort from up here as well. Because this lobby is high up and at the centre of the hotel, you can literally see the whole resort from up here. The kids also love coming up here to have a break out of the sun. What we found is that because the area is so open, that you also get a nice breeze coming through even when it is really hot outside. And it never seemed to get too busy in this area as well during our stay, so the kids were free to run around without getting in anyone's way. There's also a bar up here too. It wasn't open when I filmed this bit, but it was open overnight, and they'll serve you pretty much any drink you can think of as well. We found ourselves sitting up here most nights really, as it was never too busy for the kids, so we could play games with them or they could just mess around acting silly. You've also got the coffee shop up here too, which I didn't manage to get much footage of, but you could get nearly any flavoured latte or other hot drinks from here as well as donuts, cookies, cakes and even sandwiches. So this is the reception area where you'll check in. You'll be given a bracelet which will also open your room door when you scan it. Whatever you do, don't lose this bracelet because the hotel will charge you $90 if you do. So we didn't book as Diamond Club because personally I think that the extras you get being in Diamond Club just don't justify the extra price for the holiday. Instead though, we did pay extra when booking to upgrade our room to an oceanfront room, which if you're thinking of doing the same, just be careful, because when we booked the room there was also an option for ocean view as well as oceanfront. So I assumed that the oceanfront room would be right at the front of the beach looking out at sea, but the hotel classes any room which is where the balcony faces that way, even if the view is obstructed, as an oceanfront. And you will see why I wasn't happy with the first room they gave us in a few minutes, but thankfully they did change our room to what I thought I was originally paying extra for. So these are the corridors that you'll go through to get to your room, and just so you know, the noise really does echo and travel through these corridors, and we were woken quite a few times in the night by some people being quite loud going back to their rooms, so it is just something to think about, especially if you are already a light sleeper. With 1005 different rooms, you can probably tell that this hotel is huge. And this is the room that reception changed us to, an oceanfront luxury junior suite in block 11, and is pretty much a mirrored version inside of the first room. The rooms are nice and modern and quite spacious inside. In the bathroom you've got your toilet obviously, 2 sinks, you've got a huge walk-in rain shower that also has a bath, you've got your standard wardrobe space with a safe, and a fridge that did get well stocked daily during our stay. You got your 2 double beds, so me and Sarah had one and Jacob had the other, and the couch pulled out into a sofa bed which was ideal for Isaac. And you've got your TV too, which had a fair few English channels on it, and you also use the TV to order from the all-inclusive room service as well. And our room did get cleaned daily and fresh towels given to us, so there was never any issues there either. And if you're enjoying this video so far, please help to support us by giving this video a like and subscribing to our channel. Now this is the type of view we expected to get when we paid extra for an oceanfront room. You'll see why in just a moment. We weren't happy with the view from the first room we were given. So these are the photos from the balcony of the first oceanfront room that we were assigned to. So not only was there a limited view of the sea, but it was the fact that it felt like being in a fishbowl, especially with all the other balconies angled to face directly at ours. I do like to sit on the balcony of an evening once the kids are in bed, but I wouldn't have felt comfortable at all doing that here because it just felt like being on a stage with everyone watching you. And it wasn't just the balcony everyone could see, they could see right through into the room as well, which also didn't really sit right with me, especially with having 2 young kids with us. I didn't want to have to keep the curtains closed for the 2 weeks just for a bit of privacy. When I told reception my reasons why I wanted the room changed, the first person wasn't so helpful, but I later spoke to a different member of staff and she was more than helpful and she got us moved pretty much straight away. The view from the room that they moved us to was easily 100 times better, and from the balcony you got to see so many great things like the sunrise, the sunset, even a double rainbow, and crocodiles. Yep, that's right, there are crocodiles at this resort that do like to go for a swim in the sea. Now this isn't something that we knew about when we bought this resort, but obviously the crocodiles were here before this hotel was even built. The crocodiles live in the mangroves at the side of the hotel, and security do keep a close eye on them. Swimming in the sea did become off limits, and sometimes more than once a day when the crocodiles went for their swim or to hunt for fish. When the crocodiles did leave the mangroves to go into the sea, hotel security would make everyone get out of the water for obvious reasons, and you would get the crowds on the beach just watching them as they swam, and to be honest, they were quite fascinating to watch. And according to one of the security guards that I asked, there are apparently 5 crocodiles that live in these mangroves next door. Also during our stay, they did put up signs and erect a small fence to try and stop people getting too close to the crocodiles. So if crocodiles are something that scare you, maybe you should reconsider booking here. The Royalton Splash is home to 12 different restaurants, ranging from teppanyaki, Italian, Indian, a steakhouse, Mexican, and many others. During our stay we got to try all except for one of the restaurants, which was the French restaurant, which was also an adult only restaurant, and to be honest the menu there didn't really look appealing to me anyway. Sen, the teppanyaki restaurant, which you can see here, offered not only to have your food cooked in front of you, but the chef also puts on a bit of a show for you too, which was quite entertaining to watch. The food here was really nice too, but like most of the restaurants at the resort, the portion sizes can be a bit on the small side. Depending on what time of year you go to the Royalton Splash, sometimes you may have a bit of a long wait to get into certain restaurants. Luckily though, we didn't have to wait too long to get into most of them, but one night it must have been over a 2-hour wait to get into the Smokehouse barbecue restaurant. Now I'm not sure if this was just because it was busy or if someone had actually made a mistake when we first made the reservation to get in. If you've already visited the Royalton Splash, then let us know what you think about the restaurants in the comment section. The Cave has got to be one of the most eye-catching restaurants here at the resort. The name might give it away, but it's set inside a purpose-built cave, and the interior of the restaurant is just amazing. From what I can remember as well, the food was really nice here, even though I can't really remember what I did actually order to eat. Now if you're enjoying this video, then don't forget to also check out part 2 when you're done, because we also go over plenty of other important things on there, which will help you decide whether or not you should stay at this resort. We also have a full playlist dedicated to the Royalton Splash on our channel, with so far 20 different videos covering all aspects of this resort that you're going to want to see. And don't forget to please support us by subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out. Hunter Steakhouse was probably the only restaurant that we returned to more than once as well. Both times we managed to get a table straight away too. Also, I'm no steak connoisseur, but the ribeye steak here was one of the nicest steaks that I've ever had as well. Grazie, the Italian restaurant, also had a great setting as well, as it was right next to the beach. But be warned, I've never really got bothered by mosquitoes during our holiday, but they had an absolute feast on my legs the night that we came to this restaurant, and I think it's because it's right all in the open and right next to the sea. Taj is the Indian restaurant of the resort, and we only got to eat here once during our stay. Usually I'll only eat mild curries when getting Indian food back at home, so I ordered the Gourmet here, which back at home usually is very mild, but here it was really spicy. I think nearly everything on the menu in here is spicy. The food is really tasty though, but again the portion sizes are on the small side. And then this is the main buffet restaurant, Gourmet Marche. It is open for all breakfast, lunch and dinner. What you can see in this part of the video is the breakfast buffet. If you come for breakfast early enough then you will be fine, but on this day we got here quite late, so it was really busy and sometimes long waits for them to replenish certain items of food. You can get all your typical continental all-inclusive breakfast items here, as well as freshly made pancakes and smoothies, and the chefs will also cook your fried eggs or omelettes fresh in front of you while you wait for them. Now, depending on what time of day you come, sometimes you might be queuing up for a bit to get in here. We did have to queue most mornings when coming for breakfast, but it never usually took too long, and once a table does become available for you, the waiter will take you over to it to seat you down. Also, one tip for you when you come in here, get your coffee first from the coffee shop that's upstairs, as it is so much nicer than the coffee that they have available in here. On some days during breakfast, they also have a clown that'll go around all the tables making balloon animals for the kids, or in Jacob and Isaac's case, balloon guns. Now, it did take quite a few days to eventually get the clown to come over to see Jacob and Isaac, but it was to no fault of his own at all, because he was absolutely mad all the time by the amount of children in here that wanted him to make balloons for them. And as you can see, the kids were absolutely made up with what he made for them. During the day, you also have a few options where you can get snacks from. You have Grazie-to-go, which is where you will find freshly made pizzas cooked straight from the stone pizza oven. And around the pools they also have two food trucks. One of them is a taco truck and the other one is a burger truck. Or if you're after something sweet, you also have Scoops Gelato, where you can get ice cream either in a cone or in a tub, and they do plenty of different flavours of ice cream. If you fancy staying in your room, you've also got the all-inclusive 24/7 room service, where you can get the likes of pizzas, burgers, sandwiches and even cakes. This resort is home to several huge swimming pools that also overlook the beach. The main thing that probably attracted us most to this hotel is how nice and inviting the pools actually look. There's also a couple of swim-up bars in the pools if you're after a cocktail or a beer while you're relaxing in the water. As well as the swimming pools that are open to everyone, you also have the Diamond Club area, which has its own pool, jacuzzi and a swim-up bar too. One thing that I must say, which is probably the same with most resorts, is that if you want decent sun lounges close to the pool and with parasols, or you're a large family and at least want all your sun lounges together, then you're gonna have to get up early to reserve some. For the first few days of our vacation, this wasn't really an issue, Then after a bit the hotel must have been getting busier, and unless you went down at around 7 AM in the morning, then you have a really slim chance of getting a decent spot. And on one of the mornings when I did go down early to put our towels out, the staff were actually there fishing out a dead raccoon from one of the pools that had accidentally drowned. Around the pools there's also plenty of daily activities put on by the animation teams. You got water aerobics, water polo, and even foam parties. Now the foam parties could get quite crowded when they were on, so if you're thinking about going to this resort and you do have young children, then just make sure that you do keep them quite close to you if you do go into one of the foam parties, as it is probably quite easy to lose sight of them in all the bubbles. Around the pools they've also got waiters that'll go around all the sun lounges taking people's drink orders, although depending on what waiter was working that area that day could also mean sometimes you might be waiting a while until you actually get your drink. As the hotel had only been open for a few months when we went, you could see that there was still some work that needed to be finished on it, and quite often you would see some construction workers working around the pool areas, either painting or even fixing the odd tile. And one important thing to note, especially if your children are fair skinned like ours, there is very minimal areas in any of these pools that have any shaded areas from the sun. We found that when the sun was out, we spent a lot of our time under one of the bridges that went over one of the pools, just to keep the kids out of the sun. Even by using Factor 50 sun cream on them and keeping them covered as much as we could, when that sun was out, it was very unforgiving. Luckily there was times when the weather was a bit overcast, so the kids could enjoy the pool a bit more and we wouldn't have to worry so much about them getting burnt. If you're thinking about coming here, and if you think that you have packed plenty of sun cream, then just pack some more, or you're going to have to expect to pay around $40 just to buy some from the on-site shops here. So that brings us towards the end of part 1 of our Royalton Splash, the good, bad and ugly, honest review and resort tour. Now some of the key things that we have covered so far in this video is to be careful when booking your room. If you're not happy with what you got compared to what you expected, then just make sure that you see what reception can do for you. Also, this hotel does have wild crocodiles. The hotel do the best that they can do to keep everybody safe, but if you are on the beach, and especially if you do have young kids with you, then just have your wits about you. And you're not going to want to miss part 2 of this video, as we'll be covering the likes of the true reality of what the beach really looks like, because trust me, it's not going to be what you expect, and also what happens when hundreds of guests take over the resort for corporate events. But it's not all negative. We will also cover the water park, the splash pad, the huge lazy river and many more things. So far, has this video helped you decide on this hotel? Be sure to let us know in the comment section what you think. And so that you don't miss out on part 2 or any of our other videos of this resort, then make sure you subscribe to our channel to help us on our mission to reach 1,000 subscribers. You've been watching Adventures with the Gilberts. Thank you to everyone who has watched and subscribed so far, and we'll see you in part 2.